And so you'll notice that one of the things that is a very basic principle among Native people, because that to as an awareness that you carry, is that our native languages do not have a word for I. You can refer to yourself in a second person.
Mm.
This person, this man, this boy, or you can refer in a second person to yourself. But so
Mhm.
many people that come do not have that understanding, especially among the non-native. And the younger generation of our own as natives, they are generally wanting to use that word I beyond what it they should. They we promote the concepts at the gathering of eagles that it is we, it is us, it is our.
Mm, mm, yeah.
We are responsible. All of us are responsible. It is our responsibility.
Mm,
And so that brings about then the basis of community, association, neighborhood. How do you apply these things then after you have left that fire
yeah.
and you have that stone, as Juanita was mentioned, or
Yeah.
you have that ash? That's what you were asking earlier. And that's what this is about, in that sense that, again, it's your responsibility. Do we want to take responsibility? I don't know of one human that really wants to take responsibility. Not really, because we don't know how.
Mm,
How do we heal community? How do we heal our neighborhood? How do we heal our village? How do we heal and create for the future that sense that we can transmit to the younger generation? How do we do this? And like Juanita was saying, our children were raised in those gatherings. We were going every summer to a gathering somewhere, or we had it in the Black Hills. And the point is, they are they were raised in that with that sense that they belong to something greater. But
mhm.
yet they are each uniquely individual.
Mm.
Yeah. But how do they convey then those thoughts, that philosophy, that love, that sense of belonging? So it's a been a journey on this. There's so much more.
How is it that we can keep this spirit of things are going to get better or something that is hopeful? Because people are, they're kind of in the mud, they're kind of stuck in their place. How do we
Right.
bring that spirit of freedom?
Well, I don't know. Juanita, you have some thoughts on that?
I do the same thing with my walk beside. Honey, do you go ahead? Whatever. We're just kind of visiting, but
Yeah.
it's great
Right.
to see you all. Go ahead. Juanita, you're on, I think.
Yeah, it's more, I think, just what we were talking about. I don't know. I That instilling hope right now is a really difficult thing.
Mhm.
Um, you know, the and I see that in my work on the reservation where, hope has been lost, just because of the advanced use of fentanyl. Now fentanyl is the drug of choice, and fentanyl and meth people cook meth in their home. We have children really affected by meth and the use of other drugs, smelling that in the home. These gatherings can be really beneficial for that, for instilling hope.
Mhm.
I interestingly, one thing that I've observed, and I just always talk about this, people don't seem to take me up on it yet, but when I've observed young people, especially from the reservation, go with maybe a dance group, a drum group, just traveling to other countries. And they get away from the reservation and they go to other countries and they are totally embraced. They're totally esteemed. And I see that as being one of those things that instills hope. Getting off the reservation and going someplace else besides this country where people look at them like, well, you guys, you two know because you're native.
My chances of being overseas to teach, there is this anticipation of maybe the Native Americans have something that can help life.
Yeah.
So there is that kind of
they do.
They do. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And being able to make openings for later generations is a part of trailblazing on my part. I'm hoping to open up some paths so that there can be other people continue to come and talk about the way of life, as our elders would call it. Yeah, yeah. And I have to wonder, way back whenever the children were taken away, and the elders were taken out of the villages, what ways did the people hang on to their their hope and optimism to get past that finally and see that there is something, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Even though they're in a particular way right now, being able to have that spirit of hope that let's just hang in there. Things don't have to be this way all the time. And trying to find those and struggle for those words is often kind of put in my lap as well. Wow. Well, let's not get too long. The last kind of thinking that you have in mind, bring it on. And hey, we're looking like it's something that we have something that we can offer with a little bit of making things and editing and this sort of thing. But hey, any last thoughts on your mind right now? At least, Juanita, you have something on the top of your head. I still have some up here too.
Oh, hair. Yeah, I have hair, and it's starting to turn a little bit white, but it's kind of funny. But my hair's gone from being extremely blonde, which I was all my life, to being dark like this. So you can actually see that it's turning white.
Yeah. Let's get back to the Choctaw man.
I want to know about that connection. You guys are probably related.
Well, we're not sure what's in the skeletons in the closet, but let's get back with Ben, and we'll have him kind of close things off for our little visit today. Ben, you're on. What you got anything on the top of your mind?
Yeah. I think like I said, I was cooking here, and whether, and I think other people can understand that, if they ever see this or whatever. But the point is that we have to take care of our physical being.
Yes.
And the capacities that we have, wherewithal to do, and our mental being, our spiritual being. And yeah, we're in a place and time now that Juanita mentioned of my being a archaeologist and anthropologist and historian and ethnographer and whatever all these things I've done. But the point is being an observer of humankind, not greater than it, not lesser, just part of. And the commonality of our journeys, we're all faced in this country, in this world, we're all faced with the same issues, and whether it be drugs or such as what is happening in Europe right now, Ukraine, and we can label it all the labels we wish, but when it comes down to it, it is still back to what is the direction for humankind and our responsibility in that. I mean, we can judge that man Putin, the leader of that aggressive country. We can judge him, but truly that's not in our power. It doesn't belong to us. So we have to, and as we talked with at the fire and the gatherings, to not preach. It's not that. It is saying there is a way, but it is being that honest person yourself and believing in something greater than yourself, far beyond your capabilities physically, mentally, spiritually, even, because they're all dependent upon something greater. So when we take ourselves out of the equation and look to the answers or what corrective action we need to take as humankind, because Juanita mentioned the drugs and things, and yes, but someone began the process of producing those somewhere, some human. And for what reason? Well, and what I'm going to say on that is biblical in its understanding when they talk about money being the root of all evil. Well, money is just a tool. That's all it is. It's no different from a hammer or anything that is just a tool for you. But when we have made it something that is the greatest part of our purpose and reason for being and what we want versus what we need. But so many times we speak at the fire of these things because the money in and of itself is it's there as a convenience. It's a tool, a convenient tool. That's all it is. Now, how can we use that tool if we're affluent enough to make a better world, to have a better world? So those less fortunate will have the opportunity to have a greater comfort in life. But it all begins somewhere. know, somebody wants something, and so someone decides to make it. Well, they do, but for whatever purpose that they create those drugs and things, well, we have to start looking at it in a more global sense. We can't just look at it from our own country. But what can we do in our communities to correct that? Within our communities, not having the politics tell us what we have to do, or we have to have a grant to do it, or we have to whatever.
Mm.
So the gatherings have been about that. It is giving that hope, but it is giving from the wisdom of millennia, from our tribal peoples, a way of thinking, a way of being, a way of seeing, and not being or passing judgment. I pass no judgment on that man Putin, not for what he's doing, but I look at why he is doing it.
Mm. Mm.
And there's a very simple reason. It's a matter of economics. It's a matter of him being able to provide enough food for his own people. Ukraine is very well known to be the breadbasket of Europe.
Mm-hmm.
This man seeks to control that. He wants to have that ability to be able to not only feed his own people, but also to have an economic base for exchange and trade in the world.
Mm.
It's real basic. When we all need food, we all need good water, we all need, but then step back from who he is as a person, and look and see what is it that is driving this.
Yeah.
Go beyond the individual personality, et cetera, et cetera. That's nothing. But there is a purpose behind it. So we're seeing the effects of this in our own country, in our own homes, in our own villages, our own communities. We're seeing this now. What that drive is over there, what's happening. But I'm just saying, all in all, it's about looking at the world in that sense of the global, because we are part of that global. We're not above it or below it. We're part of it. And the issues that affect anyone, that man walking down the streets in Bangkok right now, or that man walking or woman walking down the streets in Nairobi, or that one walking down the street in Moscow. Doesn't matter. They're one and the same. We all want the same thing. We want peace.
Yes.
And we want that safety that Juanita mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to find our journey individually and collectively. And so the gatherings are about these things. There's a number of things that people have tried to bring in that are political in nature. We try to gently pull them back from thinking of that, because it is an issue that is important in their life, yes. But what will that issue do for the broader well-being, welfare, and safety and health of all of us? But we can't politicize it. And that's one of the very basic things that is said at the gatherings. This is not about politics. This is not about economics. This is not those two driving things that seem to be ever Americans and or Canadians. What drives them? Because when you listen to the news, and we were listening to the news in Canada as we were driving, Juanita really loves the news and NPR.
Radio and television. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's all geared toward economics and politics. It's dominating everything. And we get lost in it. We human, or those that are aware that we're getting lost inside of this. We have to find our way out. So the gatherings are promoting a way out, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, in the end, it comes back to you, your responsibility. What will you do? What can you do? What should you do? And make your decision likewise.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot more. There's so much.
Well, it sounds like we can go for our coffee again, and you can go and get you something to eat.
Yeah, I've been slowly cooking here.
I know you have. Well,
I've got some meat frying up, and so.
Yeah, all right. Thank you to both of you, and maybe in a couple of weeks or so we can catch another Zoom time. Okay,
That'd be good.
Okay,
yeah.
That'd be fun. All righty. Well, I've got to fix my hot dog sandwich.